What is going on, everybody? You guys already know who it is. Patriots Global back here with another one. As always, we have Rob here, Patriots7 on Instagram, also the House Call Sports. You guys have seen us over the last 2 weeks, 3 weeks in a row. We are doing very good with consistency, and you guys are going to see us all season long for these post-game streams. Now, excuse the delay of this one. Technical difficulties. There is a storm rolling through, so we were just live on Bleacher. There were some lagging issues there. I'm praying that it was on Bleacher's side and not my side with the lag. So cross your fingers, guys, that everything stays good on our end in this stream. But we're dealing with some technical difficulties trying to figure some things out. So excuse the delay. But as always, we are here to break down the game that we just saw, New England Patriots at MetLife Stadium, first game on the road against the in-division rival New York Jets. New England Patriots, of course, take the win. They are now in the win column, which feels so good to be able to finally say, as they are 1-2 and they are tied. They are tied with the Jets for the same record in the division. These division games, obviously, like we've said several times, very important. Patriots get that win. They're in the win column. And, of course, that first one against an in-division rival. So today was a little bit closer than we would have liked, but it has to feel good. Rob, how are you feeling right now?
I'm feeling 15 in a row pretty good. But it was a sloppy game. Not like, look, you can't always have everything go your way, and we just happened to squeak this one out. So
yeah, no, like you said, it got a little bit closer than we would have liked. Patriots coming out of the second half. It's hard to get a little bit of a wrap on what this team is 3 weeks in. It looked like that the first 2 games of the season, that the Patriots in the first half of games were not a great football team, but came out in the second half and played absolutely great football. But unfortunately, it was too late in both of those games against Miami and, of course, against Philly. And this game seems like they started off pretty strong, but coming out in, after halftime, that's when they started to let things get a little bit closer. And of course, ultimately, like you can say it comes down to that final play. Zach Wilson really almost had that. And that wasn't a great pass by Zach Wilson. That isn't Randall Cobb doing anything special. That is Kyle Duggar almost lost you this game, dude. Like if you look at that, Kyle Duggar, easy interception, should have that in his hands, but pushes the ball away rather than securing the interception. And it goes right down to Randall Cobb, who just so happens to be there, thankfully loses his footing. And if he doesn't, we're talking about the Patriots, potentially losing this game because of it. So it came down a little bit closer than ultimately it should have, and definitely came a lot closer than the stat board shows that it should have. The Patriots were the better team in every single category today. So if they lost this, there would have been absolutely no excuse. But the score ends up finishing 15-10, the New England Patriots. I thought this game was secured, and I posted this on Twitter and Instagram. I thought that this play was secured in the fourth quarter. This was the drive not the last drive from the Jets, but the drive before for them, where they're starting back into their own end zone, and Matthew Judon kind of comes off the edge there, gets Zach Wilson for the safety. That's 2 points. That kicks up from 3 points to 5 points without the offense having to do anything. And of course, the offense gets the ball back, but then does absolutely nothing, goes 3 and out and punts the ball off right away. But the reason that I said that Matthew Judon called a game right there was because all game long, except for really one instance, the Jets were not driving down the field and scoring points along the Patriots, barely scoring 3, but only one time really they scored 7. So, with that being said, I wasn't scared that the Jets were going to drive down and score that necessary touchdown they needed to beat the Patriots once it went up to 5. I thought that if it was 3 points, Greg Zuerlein would have came in, and whether it was 50 to 55 yards, I think would have been his range. I think that he actually makes that field goal, puts it into overtime. And that's why if it's a 3-point game, it worries me. But anything above a 3-point lead by the Patriots, I was like, nah, we got this one in the bag. And everybody was like, Patriots Global, the game's not over. What are you talking about? It's still happening. Now, after that Matthew Judon safety, he called game. I don't know your thoughts on that, though, Rob.
And looking how it was looking going into the fourth, reading my notes, Wilson had 3 targets and 2 receptions on 5 yards, and you're best running back you have, supposedly top 10 running back in the NFL, had 12 rushes for 18 yards. I mean, everything couldn't have gone more in our favor. Our defense played, I mean, Miles Bryant, once again, Jekyll and Hyde. He just can't, he plays good, and then when the moments are critical, it seems like he just kind of goes and shifts back to old Miles Bryant. So hopefully a little bit more consistency comes out of him. Yeah, when I saw that safety, I was like, all right, let's just get a couple first downs and end this game. But like, we really just kept on letting them come back into the game. And speaking of letting them come back into the game, for Christ's sake, could you call a pass interference on Douglas? Or at least when the play's over, I could have understood the Mosley late hit on Mac Jones, but then Gardner hits Mac Jones, and I'm like, where's the flag?
Yeah, all game long, and I tweeted that same thing out, that this was such a one-sided game, and you know it's a one-sided game too, and it's not just a Patriots fan thing, when literally the commentators are out here saying that exact same thing, that, okay, I guess, you know,
Tony Romo said it. He's like, oh, this is going to be a flag, and I just retweeted it on my Twitter. I was like, oh yeah, well, it didn't turn into a flag.
Yeah, that was the problem all game long. And the fact that they just got away with some free calls and things that could have really turned this game around if you're a Patriots fan. They ultimately won, but like the fact that it came this close, it wouldn't have even been this close if some of those calls obviously get overturned, because, you know, some of those flags come on crucial moments where it's third down, and instead of punting, now you get a fresh set of downs and you're a little bit closer to the goal line. So I think there were several times that they just didn't call things and it should have been called. But at the end of the day, the Patriots still squeaked one out. And the fact that the Jets weren't able to win one when they had several calls all game long going their way, it's a little bit concerning. But, you know, Jets fans will tell you that nothing was called. I actually had, let me see if I can actually pull it up. I actually had, let's see, can I share my Twitter real quick? I want to show you guys this. Thought it was kind of funny. I might have to change the setup here real quick.
Can I just say that, like, I'm not very big on like people being so critical of our kicker today. Like,
yeah, no, I agree.
The weather conditions being terrible, and then you got our long snapper. I believe Cordona is hiking the football to Behringer, and then Behringer laces in instead of out. Like, and the weather conditions. I mean, I don't want to be so. I don't know why people are so critical of Ryland today.
Yeah, no, I agree. And we're definitely going to get into that in today's stream. I actually have him on Bleacher. I did some winners and losers. And I didn't have Ryland as a loser. I had Cardona as a loser because of it. But we'll definitely get into that. But I actually want to show you this tweet real quick. I thought it was kind of funny. I scrolled down a little too much. Obviously that giveaway we're doing, where is it? All right, here it is. Let's pull this up. So I thought this was really funny. So I tweeted out originally, the Jets just got away with pass interference against Demario Douglas that would have had the Patriots within the 20 from the penalty, but it wasn't called. And Kyle Becker, who has like over 300,000 followers on Twitter, he seems to be like a podcaster, a host for like Fox News and whatnot. So immediately I saw that. I was like, oh, wow, that's cool. But he says, that Demario Douglas held Carter and pulled his jersey, in which I came back and slapped my man with some news that he did not respond to. I said, Demario Douglas pulled him closer. You know, he did not alter Carter from, you know, getting in the way of that pass in any way, shape, or form. In fact, if anything, Demario Douglas pulling him closer only helped him. Now, if he pushed him away and shoved off of him and had a push off, that's one thing to help him in his advantage, but that's not what happened here. So I said, Douglas pulled him closer. The defender broke out of it, which prevented it from being a hold, which technically doesn't make it a penalty. It would be classified as an attempted hold rather than an actual hold. Carter's hands to the face would have been pass interference, though, but it was not called.
Is this the play where basically Carter's doing his best impression of like Mike Tyson slapping the shit out of Douglas on that play? Like, is that the play that we're discussing? Because I mean, that should have been a flag right there. But if we're gonna, or at least an offsetting penalty, if we're gonna go and be that picky.
Yeah, no, it was the one where Douglas kind of turns his back. He kind of comes up for that pass from Mac Jones, and then Carter's hand kind of just slaps his face as he turns around and the ball is coming down, which obstructs his view. That is pass
Yeah,
interference.
I had Jets fans that were saying that
right
wasn't a pass interference. Like, that's insane.
It was even called by Tony Romo, man. Like, if they're going to call it, you can't say it's wrong. But no, it was pass interference, hands to the face. It obstructed his view from making the catch. That was pass interference. And for the Jets fans trying to say, oh, well, he grabbed his jersey, that's holding, and it was offsetting. Well, you have to understand that that wasn't a hold. There's different types of holds in different situations that didn't prevent Carter in any way, shape, or form from actually making a play on the ball. If anything, it helped him. But again, he broke out of that hold. Because he broke out of that hold, it is not classified as an actual hold because he was actually able to break out of it. It's an attempted hold, and you don't get a flag for an attempted hold. So that shouldn't have been offset. And that should have been a big pickup for the Patriots on that flag. But ultimately, it wasn't at the end of the day. And that kind of is what it is. We can, sit here and talk about, hey, they didn't call this, they didn't call that. But the Patriots won, and they're able to squeak out. Obviously, just a little bit annoying. But I thought that it was absolutely absurd, the Patriots defense today. And I want to kind of talk a little bit more about the Patriots offense and then break into the defense. But you can't talk about this game without saying that the Patriots forced the Jets to punt on 5 straight drives. Now, obviously, they made them punt more than 5 total times in this game, but they made them punt on 5 straight drives, resulting in 0 points. They did not put up points until their 6th offensive drive, in which they put up a field goal totaling 3 total points. They went 3 points going into halftime. They almost shut out the Jets going into half. I think that that's a stat that you can't ignore when talking about just how this game developed and just how good the Patriots were in this game. In fact, you know what, Rob? We're gonna do it a little backwards today. We're gonna do it a little backwards. Let's talk about the defense while we're here, because you know what? The offense is going to be fun to talk about. We'll get into Mac Jones, Hunter Henry, all of that good stuff. But I feel like you got to start with the defense when the defense is literally what won you this game. Rob, I know you have some thoughts right now.
Looking at Gonzo, can we say this kid? I mean, it's a little early, but it's 3 games in the season. But you've played AJ Brown, Tyreek Hill, Jalen Waddle, and you've played Garrett Wilson. Can we say that those are legitimately a top 10 wide receivers?
You know what? So something that ties into what we're talking about. So I'm not trying to backtrack or anything, but did you see what Tyreek Hill did today? This wasn't, week 1 for Tyreek Hill wasn't just a write-off. Tyreek Hill put up multiple touchdowns today. He put up 200 yards, or at least close to 200 yards again. He had an excellent, excellent game today. But the Patriots, the only game that he was held was by this Patriots defense, in which he was held to 40 overall yards. Tyreek Hill in any other game has put up well over 100 yards when it's not the Patriots. But when a rookie in Christian Gonzalez goes on, the number 1 receiver in the league right now in Tyreek Hill, he holds him to 40 yards.
No, less than that, 32 yards. The touchdown that he got on, I think it was an 8-yard play. That wasn't on Gonzo. Yeah. So 32 yards. And I don't know what the numbers were, but going into this game, he was the 3rd-rated corner in the NFL. So this kid, like I was going to say, he is, I mean, this is insane. And he's still 21 years old. This is going to be scary because, like I said, we got young Stephon Gilmore. Now we're going to get to develop him into something that probably could be better than what Stephon Gilmore ever was.
Man, and let me tell you, I made a TikTok about this because if you guys don't know, I make a bunch of Patriots TikToks, Patriots news, some NFL news too, Patriots highlights over on TikTok. So go ahead and follow me on my socials. I also tweet a lot, guys. I tweet out my thoughts. I tweet out about the game while the game's happening. So I do a lot of stuff on my other social medias other than YouTube, TikTok, Twitter, and Instagram. So go ahead and follow all of those, link in the description below. But I said, by the end of the season, or in the next year or two, Christian Gonzalez is going to be a top 3 cornerback in the National Football League. And I had a lot of people telling me that I was crazy. And I was like, I stand by this. There's no doubt in my mind. And the fact that we are 3 weeks into his rookie season, and he's already one of the best cornerbacks in the National Football League. He's just turned 21 years old. He has so much to still develop. and he's locking down the best receivers in the game. Like you mentioned, a little bit of a rougher game against AJ Brown, but again, that's like a welcome to the NFL actual game for him. So it's a little bit different, but still did fairly well against AJ Brown compared to what other teams have been able to do. Shuts Tyreek Hill down for the most part, who's a number one graded and rated, even statistically, wide receiver in the league. And then Garrett Wilson, who's one of the best receivers in the league also. He holds him to 5 receptions on 9 targets, 48 yards, long catch of 29 yards, which I don't even think was on him, and 0 touchdowns. Most of those stats for Garrett Wilson came in garbage time. That came in their touchdown drive late in like the 3rd or 4th quarter. And that's where most of those yards for Garrett Wilson came. They came on one drive. So for the most part, he was shut down all game. I even tweeted out, I was like, is Garrett Wilson playing in this game? Like, am I missing something? Because I've not heard this man's name be called once.
And looking at it, that play that he got that big chunk yard, it looked like Gonzo passed him off to the safety. I think they were playing zone. I don't know where they were playing there. Through 3 weeks, can you say that maybe he's the best cornerback in football? It wouldn't be out. I mean, 3 weeks, through 3 weeks. I'm not saying he is right now. I'm just saying based off these 3 weeks of what we see in the competition that he has been put up against, I feel like he's been the best cornerback in football. Period.
Yeah.
Look at Tyreek Hill. Who holds Tyreek Hill to 32 yards? Come on. And then Garrett Wilson, all we heard all offseason how twitchy and how pretty much unguardable he is at this point. And he put that man in a box.
Yeah. And of course, for Tyreek Hill to even come out and give the rookie praise in his second game, I thought was absolutely astounding, especially with, how Tyreek
Say that again. What year is he in?
Especially second
rookie, right?
Yeah. Christian Gonzalez first year, second game. And the fact that Tyreek Hill was able to come out and say that about him alone, I thought, especially for somebody like Tyreek Hill, I thought was just tremendous praise. But we talked about Christian Gonzalez. Of course, as you guys already know, we're giving away this signed Christian Gonzalez helmet. We will talk about that giveaway a little bit later on. Talked about it on the channel before. It's also on Twitter and Instagram if you guys want to check it out now. But we will be talking about how you can win this later on in the game. Let me tell you, this thing is going to be worth so much more than I bought it for already. So even if you win it and you sell it for like $1,000, there you go. That's free money for you. But make sure you guys enter that giveaway. We are going to be talking about it later. But the New England Patriots and Gonzo himself weren't the only shining pieces to this defense. Even from a passing perspective, Zach Wilson threw 36 passes today, completing 18 of them for only 157 yards, 0 touchdowns, surprisingly 0 interceptions. I will say Zach Wilson, I think, looked different today. I think he actually made progress to being a better quarterback against the Patriots. Didn't turn over the ball. He took what was given to him at times. And I didn't think he forced anything. He didn't look great. He's obviously still not a great quarterback, but I thought that he actually looked better compared to what we've seen over the last 4 matchups. But we also sacked him 3 times, which resulted in a negative of 24 yards. And then obviously from a rushing standpoint, I thought this team did very good, especially after you lose Devon Godchaux, you lose Daniel Aquale, you lose your 2 big pieces in the interior of your defensive line, and you still hold the entire rushing attack for the New York Jets to 22 carries for 38 yards, 1 touchdown, and a long run of 7 yards. I mean, between Dalvin Cook and Breece Hall, Dalvin Cook, 18 yards, Breece Hall, 18 yards. I mean, every single aspect of this defense, I thought was tremendous. And of course, you also have to take away some of those plays that should have been negated if the refs actually called what they're supposed to. So this team even did better than what we see on the stat sheet. But I mean, my God, bro, 133 passing yards total and 38 rushing yards. That's less than 200 yards of offense.
But when did they really do anything? It was that drive where they had 87 yards where Zach Wilson went 7 for 10. They started figuring us out a little bit. But I mean, like, what was really there to figure out up until that point in the game? We were basically mugging them. And we gave them the opportunities repeatedly to come back into this game. Our own blunders. There was one drive to open the 3rd quarter. I have it written down where Juju has a blindside block. Trent Brown gets a false start.
I have that down.
Oweno gets another false start, and we punt. And then the very next drive, to start that drive, we have 12 man on the field. We gave them so many opportunities to have be in this game, other than missing the field goals and whatever it may be. But I honestly, this game should have been a blowout. I don't think that they did anything to make this game. If you just show me the box score and you don't show me anything else, I would have been like, all right, maybe this is a close game. Nothing doing on the Patriots end, nothing doing. Just it's more Jets than it is Patriots. You can't tell me that that's the case.
And something else defensively that I did notice in this game, and this is probably going to be a little bit of a trend for the Patriots as they deal with their best cornerbacks being out. We know John Jones is currently out of this game. I would expect that they didn't play John Jones in this game purposely. I think if he really needed to, John Jones would have been in this game. But you say, you know what? Gonzo's elite, and he's playing way better than we expected him to at this point. He'll shut down Garrett Wilson. And then other than that, you have Cobb, you have, a rest of, bums basically, right? No one really
going into this game, Cobb had not registered a catch. And McCole Hardman, I guess, would be their second or third option, had 6 yards on the season. So we really didn't have much else to shut down. But look at this. We get to find out what we got in Sean Wade. And then Miles Bryant, if he could just be consistent, which he's had a lot of glimpses of being really freaking good. That Cobb kind of sold that PI in the end zone. But let's be honest with ourselves. This may be a blessing in disguise. That okay, someone goes down, we find out what we have.
Yeah, and I'm someone who's personally always believed in Miles Bryant. I think that as a UDFA, he's someone who came in and he showed a lot of promise. And guys, Rob coming in and actually giving praise to Miles Bryant is a lot because he's been asking for him to be off the team for a little while.
I said I wanted to be his Uber service to Logan Airport, and I would make sure. Now, I may not Uber him there. I may call a taxi. I may call a taxi. I don't know. Look, I don't know where I was going with that, but he's played good enough to where I think he should be on the roster. Whereas if you asked me last year, I would not have said that. I would have been like, listen, I'll 5-star him to damn Logan Airport, and he's played really good.
Yeah,
outside a couple plays here and there.
He's been a key piece to the Patriots defense 100%, and he's had to take on a bigger role, a role in which, quite honestly, I was worried to see him in when our starting cornerbacks went down because he's a smaller cornerback who can't go up against super tall receivers. I believe he's 5'8", 5'9". So he's already small. He can't go up against super tall receivers. Even if you're 6 foot alone, you already have the height advantage on Miles Bryant, but you also can't ask him to play in the slot against speed receivers. It's just not going to happen. That's why, to me, I always said, use him as a safety. Miles Bryant is better when he plays what's in front of him. He can read the quarterback's eyes, play what's in front of him, and just make secure tackles. And, week one, that's more so what he was doing before all these injuries presented themselves. And over the last 2 weeks, he's had to play a bigger role. And I thought that he's done very good, kind of even looking at who he's had to go against. And I know Tyreek Hill, Waddle, that's not an easy assignment, but he's able to match up with them in terms of a height perspective. And then the Jets this week, other than Garrett Wilson, they really don't have great receivers, but their receivers for the most part, other than Cobb, at least have height on Miles Bryant. And for the most part, he was able to play good today. I thought he made some secure tackles. I thought he made some good plays against the pass, but obviously that was negated of just how good his performance was, because obviously he's kind of the reason the Jets got that touchdown, right? Because I believe that call was on 3rd down. You don't hold him, that's 4th down, then they're likely going up and scoring a field goal. And that's 3 points rather than 7, which you give the ball back to the Patriots then. And I don't think this game is as close as it was towards the end versus on 3rd down, holds Cobb in the end zone. Like you said, that's a fresh set of downs. They're on the 1-yard line. It's hard not to punch the ball in at that point. So, you hate to say that Miles Bryant is the reason that they scored 7 points, but he's also kind of the reason that they scored 7 points there. So,
like I've said, Jekyll and Hyde. We just got to get a little bit more Jekyll than Hyde. And look, his tackling has been superb. Outside of what was it? There's one, I think, 3rd down catch by Garrett Wilson where he slipped the tackle and then got the 1st down. That was a critical play in the drive at that time. But other than that, he's been. I can't say he's bad, but I can't also say he's good. It's just more, just like I said, just Jekyll and Hyde. But let's just see if hopefully we get a little bit more consistency out of him.
Yeah, that's all you're asking for at the end of the day. And that's kind of been the name of the game with Bryant over his career, is that he'll have a great play and then he'll get blown out. He'll have a great game, and then the next game he's getting beat. Just like the Bills game in the playoffs a couple of years ago when he got torched by Isaiah McKenzie. That's kind of how everybody remembers the name Miles Bryant. But I think that he's going to be a big piece of this defense this year. We're going to need him to continue to play well, and we're going to need him to continue to step up. I mean, this coming week against Dak Prescott and the Cowboys, it's not going to be an easy game. You hope that Jonathan Jones is back so that, he can kind of play as CB3 rather than having to play such a big role as cornerback 2. Maybe use him as a joker a little bit in a rover role. Maybe let him play a little bit of safety like they were doing in week 1. But I thought that so far, being down Jack Jones, being down John Jones, being down Marcus Jones, and asking him to step up, especially this early on in some of your hardest games of the season, I thought that he did really, really well. Now, next up, I do want to talk about the Patriots defense in terms of what they're running. You kind of touched upon this earlier, and that's the fact that the Patriots are running a lot more zone. And this is what I was trying to touch upon earlier, is the fact that the Patriots seem like this is what they're going to do until that, cornerback room can get a little bit more healthy, till they get John Jones back, until they get maybe Jack Jones back too, and they can add some true depth in terms of experience and size and speed and actual players they can rely on. They're going to have to run a little bit more zone. And that's kind of what we, you and I talked about just a few minutes ago, is the fact that this team in this game played a lot more zone. And if they had, healthy cornerbacks, they're a team that would have loved to play man-to-man pretty much this entire game. They would have been able to match up well in terms of man-to-man. This is a team that likes to run man at least 80% of the time by the end of the season, right? They're a team that mainly is a man-to-man heavy defense, but because the personnel had to run a lot of zone. And I think part of that resulted in us seeing something that we've seen over the last couple of weeks now. And I don't know how you feel about it, but the Patriots are dropping their edge rushers, more specifically Matthew Judon, into coverage a lot more than I would have liked. And I think Matthew Judon is a little bit underrated in coverage. Not that you want to see him in coverage, because he is your best pass rusher and best edge defender, period. But I thought that he's been better in coverage than you would expect. He made some good plays dropping into coverage last year. And then I think his best play dropping into coverage was actually last week against, somehow he was guarding Tyreek Hill, gets the pass breakup on 3rd down against Tyreek. But unfortunately, that play was negated because you had Marte Mapu come in and have a late hit, which negated that play. And obviously he got called for unnecessary roughness. But this is something that I don't want to see be a habit for the Patriots, right? I don't want them to constantly be dropping guys like Matthew Judon into coverage, because at some point it's going to be a liability. And I understand from time to time, but I feel like over the last few weeks, we have seen it multiple times per game. So I don't know if you have any thoughts on that, Rob.
But also, you could, from the flip side of the coin, you can also look at it from the perspective that at least, like, okay, so so Judon's not exactly on the line now; he's having to drop back. That maybe keeps the quarterback honest a little bit more, right? So now he's not having to rush out. Look, we've been really bad in years prior against mobile quarterbacks, and the fact that now he's a little bit more standing upright and he's dropping in the coverage, now he could stop it a little bit more often. I apologize for my dog. I don't know what she's doing.
Oh, good, man. But yeah, and I can understand it from that perspective, right? You want to confuse the defense a little bit. So from time to time, I definitely understand it, but I feel like they're doing it a little bit too often to keep the quarterback honest. And this is something that we're kind of flashing back to 2017, when Trey Flowers was dropping into coverage. And I think Judon is a lot more athletic to be able to drop back into coverage, and he's shown us that. But at some point, it's going to be a liability. And I think it's a thing where defenses are going to start picking up on this of hey, you got to start watching these edge rushers for the Pats and kind of recognize certain defensive alignments, because they are at a point where they kind of have these tendencies of dropping these edge rushers into coverage. So it's not something that I hate to see them do, because it's something that they like to do, but I feel like it's becoming very frequent.
But you have to also put in perspective, we're missing 3 out of our 4 starting cornerbacks. At least 1 or 2 of them come back. Maybe we don't have to drop him in coverage no more. Maybe the game plan changes now that we can keep him on the line and just keep on having him on the line. Have him rushing the quarterback more. But look, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. At this point, it's working, and it's working against some pretty good offenses. I get it. We're not going against a great offense in the Jets, but I mean, all I heard all offseason about how good this offense is, and I get it, they have Zach Wilson back there instead of Aaron Rodgers, but I heard a lot from Jets fans in my comments all week. So there's that.
Yeah. Ultimately, that's kind of my thoughts there from a defensive perspective. I thought that Jabrill Peppers with another excellent game. I thought that he had some
easily player of the game outside of Gonzo. Easily. There's just so many plays he made, and honestly, if he didn't push so far into trying to breaking up that one play, he could have had a pick six. I think it was in the fourth quarter.
Yeah. Late in the game where he kind of just he did what he should have done at the end of the day, right? You can't be mad at him. He played.
Oh, I'm not going to be mad at him, but like that, if he just,
but he was right there. If he plays the ball a little bit more rather than playing his receiver, then he probably comes up with that interception. But at the end of the day, you just want to make sure that the pass is not completed, and that's exactly what he did. But I thought that he had a really strong game. One thing that I was very shocked about was that the Patriots didn't even get one turnover against the New York Jets offense. You know, Zach Wilson alone averages at least one turnover per game against the Patriots over their last 4 meetings, and no turnovers whatsoever. Now, there was a point where Breece Hall did fumble. Looked like the Patriots did recover, but ultimately they didn't. But that was the only turnover of this game, and they ended up getting it back. This is also a scenario where I expected the Patriots over the first 3 weeks to get some more turnovers than they have. They had that, interception from Gonzo last week. Gonzo actually should have had another interception against the Eagles, was right in his hands, but ultimately he dropped it, so that didn't happen. He's frustrated with himself during that play too. You could see it. But is this a situation, I want to ask you, is this a situation where are you concerned with the Patriots' ability to get turnovers because they were the number 1 scoring defense in 2022. So are you concerned with the Patriots defense and their ability to force turnovers and actually give the ball back to Mac Jones, as that's not really been something they've done through 3 weeks? Or do you give more of that credit to the Jets and the Jets offense and say, you know what, like they just played good. They played better than they usually do. And, Zach Wilson is not a starting quarterback in the league, I don't think, but he's developed compared to what we saw over those last 2 meetings.
I don't think it's either. I think that you just got to take it how you can get it. And we just haven't created turnovers, but we have limited yards. Look, if we don't shoot ourselves in the foot constantly on offense, maybe our defense isn't out that much. Oh, I don't know where I was going with that, but I just think that having turnovers is not always just the end all be all. We limited their yards. Like you said, going into the fourth quarter, Wilson had 3 targets, 2 receptions for 5 yards. The running back, who's supposed to be really good, had 12 rushes for 18 yards. I mean, you got to take it what you can get it. Yes, turnovers didn't result from it, but we limited them, completely limited them.
Yeah, and I also like this comment too from let me see, this is Walt Licker. He says Wilson threw the ball away like a champ. Yeah, he did have a lot of throwaways today. I think there were times where he maybe threw the ball away maybe too soon, but at the end of the day, I think that's development, right? Like he developed.
I was gonna say that's completely development.
Yeah, he at least developed, right? And if you're a Jets fan, you got to be like, wow, I'm happy with what I saw, because he at least developed to the point where he used to try to force those passes and he would constantly get picked off by this defense specifically. So, a recipe for losing a game is turnovers, and especially by a wide margin is by turning the ball over. So it's better to see another down and to punt the ball than, of course, to give Mac Jones and this offense a short field. So I think that's one area in which he did definitely develop and looked a lot better. Now, guys, make sure you do hit that like button. It helps the channel out significantly. We have about 64 people in here, and I know not everybody has hit that like button. So hit the like button while you guys are here. Completely free, takes less than a second. Boom, you could have just done it 5 times. But it really helps the channel out and pushing this out to the YouTube algorithm and telling them, hey, let's actually show this to other Patriots fans and NFL fans. So if you guys don't mind leaving a like, it really, really would help out the channel. But we talked about the Patriots defense. Now we should talk about the Patriots offense. And the first thing that I want to hit on, Rob, which was my first takeaway offensively, was the fact that we had this big question on Pop Douglas. Was Demario going to come into this game, and was he going to be in the doghouse, or was Demario Douglas going to come in, prove everybody wrong and show why he is still the most explosive player on this offense, why he deserves to be here, and why he deserves to get the ball. And he wasn't in the doghouse at all. Looks like that doghouse was a one-time thing for the rest of the game against the Dolphins, something that we saw with like a lot of players in the past, but specifically most recently Ramondre Stevenson. When the Patriots drafted him in 2021, he opened that game against Miami, fumbles in the red zone. We don't see him till later on in that season. And even when we did, the only reason we saw him was because we had every other running back injured. So Ramondre kind of had to come in to that game and play. Scared that this could have been the same thing with Demario, but Belichick says, no, we need you. We trust you. And I think that was an excellent sign for Demario Douglas. It was reported that he had a really, really good week of practice and that he kind of used that fumble from last week as a chip on his shoulder and really tried to just improve from it. And I think because how he performed in practice gave him the ability to come out and, be a key piece today. And I'll be curious to see what his usage was, but I feel like I saw him on the field a lot. Almost was in the doghouse again. I will say was almost in the doghouse again. That first fumble return was by him, or not fumble return, excuse me. That first punt return was by Demario Douglas. Looked like it bobbled a little bit. Could have been a nightmare for the Patriots.
Bobbled.
Could have been a nightmare by the Patriots to start the game, but luckily he was able to secure it. But we didn't see him for a few more drives as a punt returner after that. But he did stay on offense. And I thought for the most part, like he didn't do anything crazy.
He was a distraction. He was a distraction.
Yards, and he should have had more yards than he did.
And that PI that he should have drawn. Like, so we got to take, look, not everything shows up on the stat sheet that will tell you, hey, listen, what he did here, what he did there is a reason why we won a lot. Like there should have been a PI. And I mean, he also probably could have caught that ball if he didn't get slapped in the face. So we just got to take for whatever we can get it.
Like, there's a few plays that he could have, obviously had back or should have had back that go his way and helps out the statistical board for him a little bit. But in terms of what was official, he was targeted 3 times. Seems like 2 of which were penalties, but it's all right. No, well, one was a penalty. The other was a throw by Mac Jones that I believe it was the second or third quarter. It's he's out wide, and if Mac Jones hits him in stride, that's a touchdown pass to Demario, but he underthrows him a little bit, and it just becomes an incomplete pass because he can't come back for the ball. But he was targeted 3 times with 1 reception for 15 yards. He did also have a carry in this game, and that's something that I really liked and something that proved to me that he's not in the doghouse and that the Patriots really do see a future with Demario and that they want to utilize him in a multitude of different ways. They tried a trick play today. They gave him a jet sweep in which
I was waiting on that, man. He almost ended the game on that damn play.
1 carry for 5 yards. 1 carry for 5 yards. I just like that they're using him as a gadget player. And that's what we talked about this offseason. And they're finally using him not just as a receiver, not just as a returner, but they're also going to use him on those jet sweeps. I'd like to see him a little bit more on screen passes, right? Like it seems like we're still seeing Parker or these tight ends or whatever getting in on these screens. I would like to see the majority of those going to Demario Douglas because he's your best yards after the catch. He's your speedster guy. So I think that's the guy you should be going to in those moments, but still using him in a multitude of different ways. And I think we saw a lot of promise from him today, although it doesn't light up on the stat sheet.
Yeah, he's your shiftiest guy coming out of college. He, like I said, coming out of this draft, he was the highest career PFF grade out of this whole draft class. So, and I said it many times on my page that this guy's a jitterbug. This is a guy you want to give the ball in space to, and I just don't know if Parker is that guy or anybody else can be that guy. He is going to make people miss at least once or twice. So he'll get you that extra yards that you need. So yeah, I agree. The screens need to go to him.
Yeah, I 100% agree. Next part I want to talk about with the Patriots offense was their offensive line. Now, their offensive line performed a little bit questionable last week. And Miami Dolphins, they have a pretty decent front seven, I would say. Like, they have a pretty underrated defensive line, but Galen Phillips wasn't playing in that game. They had a Hannah Montana backup beating Calvin Anderson the entire game, which led to Calvin Anderson being a healthy scratch this week. A healthy scratch because of it.
Really impressive with Darian Lowe. Really impressed with him.
The New England Patriots allow 0 sacks today. This is the first game they've done so with obviously a questionable offensive line over the first couple of weeks. They allowed 2 sacks, I believe, in week 1 against the Eagles, if I remember correctly. It was 1 or 2, and then they allowed about like 3 or 4 this past week against Miami, but 0 today against a Jets defensive line, which is one of the best in the entire National Football League. It's better than the Dolphins. And they, especially in terms of depth too, like they have a lot of guys they keep fresh on that line so that guys don't get tired out. But Patriots allowed 0 sacks today, which I thought was fantastic. Now, I'm not going to put that all on the offensive line. I do think they did a couple of things to help out the offensive line. They kept Ezekiel Elliott back at times to help with blitz pickup. They also had Pharaoh Brown being lined up a lot for a blocking tight end, but they also utilized him today too as a fullback a lot. And that's something interesting that I thought maybe the Patriots this offseason would do under Bill O'Brien, is bring back a fullback, especially with kind of some of these concerns with the offensive line. And they didn't. At this point, it's too late. Like they're not going to bring in an actual fullback. They're not going to re-implement a fullback into this offense. It's too late into the season at this point. But what they can do is have certain packages offensively to have a guy like Pharaoh Brown coming in and playing as a fullback, which did help the running game at times, to help Mac Jones with pass protection at times. So I'm not going to give it all to the O-line because there were different packages that helped them out. But I did think for the most part, the starting offensive line did pretty well. I thought that Antonio Mafi coming in at times, or not at times, but when Antonio Mafi came in, that's when it got a little bit rough over on the left side at left guard. That's when it seemed like Mac Jones had to kind of get the ball out a little bit quicker because he was getting pressured a lot quicker after Cole Strange got injured. But with that continuity along the interior of that O-line with David Andrews and Cole Strange and Michael Onwenu, it looked great. Trent Brown, other than that penalty, I thought he looked fantastic today. You didn't hear his name whatsoever until that penalty late in the game. I will say that was an issue with him last year, was those penalties, and he's played 2 out of 3 games.
He didn't seem motivated last year. Let's be honest with ourselves. And I think if you get a motivated Trent Brown, you get a different version of him. I'm still not big on Trent Brown, but let's see that now you got that new contract, a new, $2 more million in incentives. If he could just hit him, gave him more incentives to play on the field now. So, and looking at the opposite side of the line at right tackle with Vidarian Lowe, who did his thing today, like exceptional job. So, and look, I'm impressed that they versed the Dolphins team where they gave up. They're not the same as the Jets, and they gave up some sacks against them. And then we go in flip side of it today. We go and basically give up nothing. So it's progress. So
yeah, it's progress for sure. And, like I was even saying about Trent Brown, the only area of concern is penalties in crucial moments were a problem with him last year. So far, that's when he's in the game, that's kind of the same thing. Like right now, Cole Strange and Trent Brown are both averaging 1 penalty per game that they are in. So if both of those guys keep this up, and that they would be on pace for 38 penalties just between the two of those guys, which obviously like that's not going to happen. That's just kind of give and take, but it's just to put some perspective on that. They got to get better at limiting those penalties and not having, 1 penalty every single game. But I thought other than that, Trent Brown played a fantastic game. Like you mentioned, a motivated Trent Brown is a different Trent Brown. Trent Brown's in contract year. They gave him an extra $2 million in incentives. He is a motivated Trent Brown right now. And I thought that he looked really, really good today. As for Vidarian Lowe over on the right side, I thought that he looked way better than Calvin Anderson. And I think that at this point, he pinned himself in, right? He pinned himself in as the Patriots starting right tackle, at least for next week, right? And I still think that's an area that it's going to be a little bit of change. It's going to be up, it's going to be down, might see some different bodies coming in and out there. But I think Vidarian Lowe, at least right now, has pinned himself in as the Patriots starting right tackle. I thought there were some times where Mac Jones did help out some of these offensive linemen, including Vidarian Lowe at times with getting the ball out very quick. That is one thing that I will say is that certain design plays to help the offensive line have helped the offensive line look a little bit better, but also Mac Jones getting the ball out as quickly as he has also helped this offensive line look better than it has. If Mac Jones doesn't get the ball out as quick as he's been doing, this offensive line lets up a lot more sacks than what's being showed, because even today I saw times with Mafi allowing pressures just like that. But at the end of the day, he was also going against Quinnen Williams. So I understand for a rookie, but I think Mac Jones has helped this offensive line look better in reality than it actually is.
And I'm really curious as to when we get the stats about, according to PFF and all the numbers, where Mac ranks. Because going into this game, I'm pretty sure he was top 5 against the blitz and everything. And his ability to be one of the quickest. Look, there were so many stats. Oh, he's the most rushed quarterback.
Over 100 passer rating under pressure.
And he has been phenomenal. I have had people that say that, oh, Mac Jones is the problem or this is the problem. Hell, your chat is saying that we have no run game right now when we ran the ball for 139 yards.
Let's touch upon that real quick, Rob.
Like someone said in your chat, S27, that our run game didn't do well. Are you serious? Are they seeing the same game we're seeing?
So on Bleacher Report today, I had some people telling me that they need to put in Malik Cunningham because Mac Jones just isn't it. I had people even on my community tab saying like Mac Jones is not the answer. We need to get him out. He's the reason this offense is stalling out and isn't what it could be. It blows my mind, and this is something that I can't understand. Maybe some of you guys in the comment sections can let me know. But something I've been trying to wrap my head around and see it from an outside perspective is how people can still put this all on Mac Jones and ask for Malik Cunningham, a UDFA that no other team wanted to sign, had the opportunity to sign when the Patriots even cut him and didn't want to, and still haven't decided to pick him up. But you saw him in a preseason game in the fourth quarter against the Texans, three or fourth strings, and you're asking him to come in and replace Mac Jones. Now, I was never a Bailey Zappi guy either. When everybody was screaming for Zappi, I was like, you guys are ridiculous. I was the odd man out in that kind of situation. I was getting people trolling me about it. And look, less than a year later, he's cut. No other team wants him. He's on the practice squad, right? So with that being said, I think people need to start understanding life without Tom Brady, because right now, Mac Jones statistically is a top 10 quarterback in the National Football League. And that's not an opinion. That's literally an actual statistical fact that is backed up by math. But people aren't understanding is that because he doesn't, drive the ball down the field every single drive, because you can't guarantee on him to come back in a have to have it, drive down the field like Tom Brady did, that he isn't a good or successful quarterback. I think Patriots fans need to get past Tom Brady, okay? He hasn't been here in years. He's retired at this point. He is the greatest player in NFL history and arguably, if not the best athlete of all time, one of the best athletes of all time. No other quarterback is going to do what what Tom Brady has ever done. And you kind of need to accept that.
Yeah, at 43 years old, he beat Patrick Mahomes, Drew Brees, Aaron Rodgers. Go down the list of all the quarterbacks he versed in that playoff run at 43 years old.
And that's not Mac Jones. But that's something that, Malik Cunningham wouldn't do. That's something Bailey Zappi wouldn't do. It's no other quarterback's going to do that. Not even Patrick Mahomes is going to do what Tom Brady did.
So I've been heavily critical going into, I said that this was the year whether we pick up the 5th-year option with Mac Jones or not. And being that how he's played, people don't want to put in perspective. You're missing offensive linemen. Defense is on the opposite side. You're missing people out there as well. You're missing wide receivers. He doesn't have a wide receiver one. He's one of the most blitz quarterbacks in the league right now, and the numbers he's putting up are speaking for themselves. I have been the type of person that have been like on both sides of the fence. I've been supporting him, and I've been ridiculing him. Now I'm at the point where it's like I just want to see what we get out of it this year. Adding all the variables of what he's going through right now and what he's having to deal with, having no wide receiver one. You go look at the common denominator with quarterbacks that take that 3-year lead: Josh Allen, Stephon Diggs, Jamar Chase with Joe Burrow, with AJ Brown with Jalen Hurts. What does Mac not have? Mac has Devontae Parker, Juju Smith-Schuster. He has Demario Douglas, who's a rookie, Keishawn Butte, who's a rookie, and he has a pretty damn good run game. Outside of that, really, there's no field stretcher. You got guys that will get a couple plays here and there. Kendrick Bourne made a hell of a play, but is he going to be someone that went in as a defensive coordinator at an analyzing situation, or you want to basically be like, hey, listen, we're going to prepare for this guy. We got to eliminate this guy, otherwise he's gonna wreck the game for us.
Yeah, and my boy Spider Nate comes out and he says Mac can be a top quarterback statistically through weeks, but is he going to get you to the Super Bowl or AFC Championship?
Who knows now? Look, last year you had a DC turned OC. I mean, that couldn't have been any worse. And I have been the biggest person. I will stand on this. I said Mac was terrible last year. But you know what? Maybe I was just a prisoner of the moment. And so far, I mean, give the kid a wide receiver one and see what he could do. That play that goes off Demario Douglas's face, albeit that he got hit in the face, a DeAndre Hopkins, a T. Higgins, or any of those guys that are really just like that wide receiver one capability, they're leaping a little bit more higher, and that's going to be a snag in the red zone. We don't have that guy that can go up and get it when you need him to go up and get it.
Yeah, and so what I'll say to this is, you look at the best quarterbacks in the league: Joe Burrow, even Tua Tagovailoa right now, Jalen Hurts, Patrick Mahomes. They all have at least one elite weapon, whether that's Travis Kelce, whether that's A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith, whether that's Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle, right? They all have that weapon, or they have at least an elite offensive line. A lot of these teams have a number one weapon along with an elite offensive line.
Tua has two. Tua has two.
Have either. Mac Jones doesn't have an elite offensive line. Mac Jones is the most pressured quarterback in the National Football League so far through weeks. Again, that's something that most people don't know because they're basing things off of what they see. They see an incomplete pass and they don't think, oh, well, maybe that was a miscommunication, or maybe the wide receiver ran the wrong route, or something of those sorts, right? Or maybe Mac Jones was under pressure and was just trying to make the ball be incomplete so that he could live to see the next down. They just say that wasn't complete, and that's on Mac Jones, and that's not how it goes.
Or maybe you're versing two top 5 defenses in the Philadelphia Eagles and the New York Jets. Why are people not seeing this?
Yeah, it's just a little bit aggravating when Mac Jones, again, it's not he could be a statistical top 10 quarterback. Mac Jones is statistically right now a top 10 quarterback in the National Football League, and he is the most pressured quarterback in the league, so he doesn't have a great offensive line, and we know that, and he doesn't have an elite number one weapon that he can go to. I think he has some really good weapons to be able to get the job done, but I think that Mac Jones looks a lot better with this receiving cast if the Patriots give him an elite offensive line to where these plays can actually develop themselves. These guys have time to get open and Matt can get his reads through. But at the end of the day, you can't ask him to be an elite quarterback when he's the most pressured quarterback in the league and he doesn't have a true number one guy that can consistently get open and win battles. And, the question being, is he going to win you a Super Bowl? Is he going to get you to an AFC championship game? How many quarterbacks in the NFL can actually fit under that category for you? I would say Patrick Mahomes.
No. Patrick Mahomes has Travis Kelce.
Joe Burrow.
Joe Burrow has Jamar Chase and T. Higgins. So
and it goes back, exactly. It goes back to what we are talking about. Even these quarterbacks that are able to do what we are talking about either have an elite offensive line or number one target or both. Mac Jones has neither. And that is the difference in what we are talking about. Can Mac Jones be a Super Bowl quarterback or an AFC championship quarterback? I don't know.
We may never know.
Give him what these other quarterbacks have that have been able to do so, and then ask yourself that same question. I just think people are being way too hard on Mac Jones.
Go look at Belichick's spending. Go look at Belichick's spending since Brady has left, and he's what, like 27th or 30th? It's either one of those numbers. He's either 27th. I can't remember which one it is. It's bad, and he smiles about it. Yet bargain bin shopping worked when you had Tom Brady. This doesn't work anymore. You got to get the kid's got to get more. He looks confident this year, but why not make him a little bit more confident? Why not unlock a little bit more of maybe a notch in his game that we maybe don't see? Some of the throws he makes are incredible, like they're like lasers. But they'll be a little. The windows are very tight. Like some of the throws he was making to Hunter Henry and Gesicki and all these things that he's making. Even there was one last game, the Juju along the sideline that he made, and it's just incredible. But like the window and the separation he's getting, it's not there. There's a lot of complimentary pieces, but nobody that really is like, oh my God, this guy's amazing. I need to shut him down, otherwise we're going to lose this game.
Yeah, I agree.
Our tight ends have been our biggest part of our offense. The 3 tight ends that we were running all day. Pharaoh Brown, that play he made, I mean, it was on a trick play, and if we don't get that, maybe we don't win this game. But it's just the fact that we have to run a trick play and basically the defense has to shoot themselves in the foot. to get that touchdown, that tells you enough. Like, we can get the yards. We're putting up the yards. It's just, and against good, very, very good defenses, it's just there's nobody that's like, you have to be like, okay, I gotta really, we gotta stop him, otherwise he's gonna wreck our game.
Yeah, I agree. And it just seems like it's either you have Tom Brady, you have Patrick Mahomes, you have Joe Burrow, you have either literally the best quarterback in the league, or get him out of the organization, because he's not the answer. Again, you have to ask yourselves, what was Tom Brady showing us that proves he's arguably the greatest athlete of all time, versus what can a good quarterback alone give you? So I think that's what people have to realize a little bit, guys. We have 87 people watching right now, 89 people watching right now. We only have 36 likes. Guys, real quick, leave a thumbs up on the video. It really, really helps out the channel. You guys want to see more breakdown videos like this, more post games, support the channel. Of course, it would mean a lot if you guys just hit that like button real quick for us. But real quick, while we are on the topic, you guys already know we have to touch upon the giveaway that we are doing, because if you guys don't already know, we are giving away a signed Christian Gonzalez helmet. My bad, Spider Nate. I did not mean to leave your comment up for the entire time. That's my bad, buddy. But we are giving away a signed Christian Gonzalez helmet, as you guys see right here. Christian Gonzalez, one of the best cornerbacks in the National Football League already. This helmet is already worth more than I bought it from, but we are not keeping it. No, my friends, we are giving it away to a lucky winner. We are giving it away to a lucky winner. We changed the rules a little bit, right? In order for you guys to be entered in this giveaway, all you have to do is download the Mojo app. It is pinned in the comment section. Or you guys can take out your phones right now and scan the QR code that is right above Rob right there. Just take out your phones, take out your camera, just scan that QR code and tap on it. It will take you to a link to download it. Right now, you do have to have an iOS phone. So you do have to have an Apple phone. Right now, it doesn't work for Androids. They are working on that. But for the time being, that is not possible. So all you guys have to do is download the Mojo app. Send me a screenshot. Either tag me on Twitter, tag me on Instagram, DM it to me on Twitter or Instagram, or email it to me at patriotsglobal498@gmail.com. Just a screenshot that you downloaded the Mojo app and you have an account, and you guys will be entered in the giveaway. It's absolutely free. You guys do not have to pay anything. Just send that screenshot using our special link to download the Mojo app, and you guys will be entered. And of course, that Christian Gonzalez signed helmet giveaway. And we will be doing a Zeke Elliott home jersey giveaway also. All you guys have to do, of course, is download that Mojo app with my link. That's the most important part, with my link, or by scanning that code right there, guys. I absolutely love the Mojo app. For those of you who don't know what the Mojo Fantasy app is, it's a crazy new app that turns sportsbook odds and selections into fantasy contests. So here's how it works. There are thousands of NFL and MLB player props, and you guys build your own portfolio. The better your portfolio performs, the more cash that you guys win. Pick as many players as you want, and you guys try to beat the crowd, which is real people. It's not the computer. You're going up against real people. So if you know what you're doing, you're going to make some serious money against these people who don't. It's a whole new way for you guys to play fantasies. The props act like stocks, and you guys can buy those stocks or sell those stocks live all game long. It's the only fantasy app that lets you guys make moves after the game starts, so that you guys are not stuck with a bad pick. You can cash in on a hot start, or just hang on and let your picks ride. That's it. Make picks, make moves, and make money. Something else that's pretty cool that I wanted to show you guys. I did this exact thing with Mojo last week for Thursday Night Football, and these were my picks that I made for Thursday Night Football. And let me tell you, I wish that I would have sold these during the game. Like about halftime, I wish that I sold these and cashed in on my money at the time, because I waited, I let my picks ride, and then I lost some money. But guys, that's the great thing about Mojo, like I said, is that if you are on a hot start and you're like, oh, don't feel like this is going to last towards the end of the game, you can sell at any point in order to make that money. So guys, download the app right now. In fact, let me put that back up. Download the app right now on the Apple Store and use my promo code GLOBAL, GLOBAL, for a 100% deposit match up to $100 for your first time deposit. So if you do want to bet with Mojo, if you do deposit using promo code GLOBAL, it'll double that initial deposit for you up to $100. So have fun, make money, and of course, make sure that you guys do download the app with that code and send me a screenshot if you want to enter for the Gonzo helmet giveaway. But let's get back into today's video. Let me put up the... I didn't even know this was still on. Put that back. But let's see. The next part that I want to talk about here offensively, let me pull up my list here real quick. Let's talk about Pharaoh Brown. Pharaoh Brown, welcome to the New England Patriots. Now, he has been one of the best run-blocking tight ends in the NFL. The Patriots were lucky enough to be able to pick him up on roster cutdowns and take him right to that 53-man roster. I thought that was an excellent move for them to do. Matt Sokol, Anthony Ferkser, none of those guys should have been, tight end 3 here. And they get a guy who does something they need and blocks. But today, he did something that was more than just blocking because he contributed to the Patriots offensively. He led the Patriots in receiving yards today. He was targeted 2 times, 2 receptions, 71 yards, 1 touchdown with that long touchdown reception of 58 yards. And I will say, I do believe that play was a little bit of blown coverage overall, but he was able to find the sweet spot in that defense and recognize that sweet spot and recognize something that was a default in that defense to be able to get open and actually score that touchdown at the end of the day. And then that other reception by him was just a quick dump off by Mac Jones, but he picked it up for a few extra yards because he was able to just stiff arm a guy and just bulldozer through people. Something that I said on Bleacher Report, I feel like we haven't seen a play like that since Rob Gronkowski. And I'm not saying that Pharaoh Brown is Rob Gronkowski, but we haven't seen that type of play from a tight end. The type where, you just turn a quick dump off into a yards after the catch run just by a quick stiff arm and just running through guys. And Pharaoh Brown showed us that today. And I thought that he showed that he should be getting more time on this offense than maybe we originally thought. Him as a run blocker, him playing fullback, him as a receiving threat now. I think that Pharaoh Brown pinned himself in with an actual role on this offense. What do you think?
Not only that, just his closeout speed to get that touchdown, he was not, they caught up to him eventually, but I mean, he's a tight end. So he fast as hell. I literally, on that touchdown drive, I have him, I put fast as hell. And I think that it's a great thing because although we're missing pieces that we don't have that wide receiver one, but our tight ends, all of them have been playing pretty damn good. I'm really happy with all of them. And we might have uncovered somebody that we can use in the future as well. If we keep Pharaoh Brown around for a little bit longer, because Henry's on a contract year and Gesicki's only signed to this year. So we might have a guy that we could keep around for a little while. I just love the speed. I love his ability to shed that tackle and get that first down. He played for what it is. He gets a little bit more play time. I think he should get some more play time. He can probably be pretty special.
Yeah, and a little statistic here. According to Next Gen Stats, Patriots tight end Pharaoh Brown reached a max speed of 18.7 miles per hour.
Fast as hell.
8-yard catch, run, and touchdown. Not something you expect from a guy his size.
That's so fast.
That is also the fastest speed that Pharaoh Brown has run. As a 6-year veteran, he has reached out of any of his 52 receptions before. That's the fastest he has ever ran in his entire life. So I thought that he looked really good today. And I really do hope that we get to see a little bit more of Pharaoh Brown because, like I said, I do think there is an aspect of his game that the other tight ends just do not have, especially if Hunter Henry does have to end up missing some time, which knock on wood, he doesn't have to. I do feel confident for Pharaoh Brown to come in and at least be something to this Patriots offense to bring some type of substance. But let's also talk about this running game because this was talked from, I think, Spider Nate and S27 earlier on in the chat that I wanted to touch upon. I almost forgot, but I did not. So what I will say is that this running game is still needs to be figured out. It is still an issue, but I don't put that issue on the running backs because I do think that the Patriots have a really, 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 really good running back core, but it's kind of like the Jets, right? Breece Hall and Dalvin Cook, they're very good running backs with the ability to be the best duo in the National Football League. It's not on them that the job isn't getting done because you've seen it be done before. It comes down to the offensive line. And just like the Jets, it's the same thing for the Patriots. While, pass blocking looks like it's developing a little bit more, run blocking still is not there. And that's been an issue for this offensive line this entire offseason, through training camp, through preseason, through the first 2 weeks of the season, that these running backs aren't able to get anything done because there's no blocking for them to get done. At the end of the day, you need your offensive linemen to push the defensive line forward in order for these backs to actually do something and find holes to get through. That's why you have big defensive linemen on your line to be able to stop the run and clog holes for them to be able to get through. And the fact that this Patriots offensive line through three weeks has had issue actually pushing the linemen forward for these backs to have any type of room to go anywhere or do anything has been the issue. But something that I've been clamoring for the Patriots to do, from the first 2 weeks, and I'm hoping they were going to do today, and they did, was get Zeke Elliott more involved. He was only being given 5 or 7 rush attempts per game. And I was like, I love Ramondre Stevenson. Ramondre Stevenson is your best back. I'm not saying make Zeke Elliott your lead back, but while you are dealing with offensive line issues and your line not being able to block for you, what you should be doing is giving it to the guy that is going to bulldozer through people and get those tough yardage. And Ramondre can do that, but he's more of your explosive running back, right? Like, he's not going to be the guy that necessarily gets you on a consistent level those tough, 3-4 yards. And that's something that Zeke Elliott has at least shown us through limited opportunity through 2 weeks. So I was really hoping they were going to give him some more opportunity with those struggles with the offensive line, run blocking, and they did. 16 carries today. Now, Ramondre still did get more, which I do understand. Ramondre got 19 carries, but Zeke Elliott with 16 carries, 80 yards, and a long run of 14 yards. He led the Patriots in rushing yards today and finally showed some type of ability. The Patriots, between Zeke Elliott, Ramondre Stevenson, Mac Jones, and Demario Douglas, they combined for a total of 40 rush attempts for 157 yards, 0 touchdowns, with that long run by Zeke for 14 yards. And let me tell you, like Zeke was doing, man, keep feeding Zeke until this line gets it figured out.
He's gaining confidence. I don't know anybody. He was our best running back today, hands down. And you said he may. I don't know if you just said he may not have the burst that Stevens. You couldn't tell me that. If you had me close my eyes and just try to figure out who was running, Zeke looked way more explosive today. He looks like he has his legs. Maybe it's the strength and conditioning that's going on with the Patriots that are resurfacing whatever he had left or what he used to have. He looked really good today. He cranked off a couple really good runs. That's what I'm saying. Like S27 was said that we didn't run. Just because it doesn't result in touchdowns doesn't mean we didn't run the ball good today. 60 yards it was. That's pretty damn good. You're going against the Eagles. You're going against the Dolphins. You're going against the Jets. Those guys don't have bad run defenses, and the fact that we're at least like holding true with basically a makeshift offensive line, I'll take it. Because when things get more better, as far as the health of this offensive line, players like Tyquan Thornton comes back and he stretches the defense out because now you got to put a guy on him because of his speed. The running backs might go off even more. Maybe the offensive line will give more time for Mac because of the fact that, like, okay, now you have to allocate another guy to Tyquan Thornton.
Yeah, no, I think you're right. I will say that I think they had a decent running game today. It wasn't good. It wasn't terrible. It was better than what we've seen through 2 weeks, especially against a good.
But you're going against the Jets defense, though.
But I still think, just in terms of what this group is capable of and what we just expect from this Patriots running group, it still isn't there, and it's not even close to being there yet. And I think what starts with getting that going has to be the start with your offensive line, obviously, but you have to find a way to get Ramondre Stevenson going, because so far he's not. This is not what you expect from Ramondre. You give it to Ramondre usually, and you're expecting at least an average of 5 yards per game. I'm not sure what they're averaging right now, but I know before this game it was somewhere between I believe it was 2 or 3 yards that this team was averaging heading into today's game from a running tackle perspective. So I think if they want to be a multi-dimensional offense, they need to start running the ball better. And I think we saw steps into doing that today. But they got to get it figured out, Rob. They got to get it figured out somehow. And it's not by adding another running back. It's by finding ways to get these running backs blocked up and getting them into space. Right now, I think, running it through the gut just hasn't worked too well for the Patriots. They were averaging more yards when they are running the ball towards the outside. And maybe that changes when you get a healthy interior, like when you get a healthy Cole Strange and David Andrews and Mike Onwenu actually consistently playing the entire game. But right now, the Patriots are averaging more yards when they run the ball to the outside. They run it, between the tackle rather than running it between the guards. And I think part of that comes because you look at what the Patriots guards have been over the last few weeks, and you had, Cole Strange out and Mike Onwenu out. And then there was a time where Mike Onwenu out, or then maybe Cole Strange was out. So, you still have to continue to build that continuity. But
Yeah.
I think it starts with trying to find ways to get holes open and get these backs into space. Because if I told you before the season started that this team was going to have thrown more passes than any other team in the National Football League through 3 weeks, would you have been concerned? Because I know I would have been. And they found a way to make it look not bad. But we went into this season expecting this to be a run-first attack offensively. And it hasn't been, not because that's not what they want to do, but because they haven't been able to, because plays are constantly stopped behind the line of scrimmage or at the line of scrimmage, and it's just not efficient.
Well, I mean, you look at the defensive fronts you're going against. I'll take it for what it is so far, because like you said, you have this guy's getting replaced on the offensive line, that guy getting replaced on the offensive line. Is this guy healthy? Chemistry is a big thing. And if you're not getting your blocking assignments down correctly, obviously they're either going to be a max face or they're going to be very hard to run the football. But so far, so it's not been crazy good. It's not like how it's been in years prior, what we expect from this rushing game. But let's look at now. Maybe we have our right tackle. We have a little bit more consistency on the offensive line, a little bit more health now. Maybe now it progresses going, but it ain't going to get much easier going against that defense. Like I said, man, people got to put this in perspective. We went against the Philadelphia Eagles, who had 70-something sacks, which was third in NFL history, and they have a really good front. Then you should have done better against the Dolphins. And then you go against another really, really good front in the Jets. It's not going to get any more different going against the Dallas Cowboys. So let's just hope that now there's going to be a little bit more health, hopefully, and that it improves our rushing attack. Like, I think that chemistry on the offensive line is a big proponent as to why we're not running the ball as well as there are a couple plays here and there, like Ramondre Stevenson not seeing the football into his hands when he could get an easy first down on some of these pass plays that we would have got to him. So everything I think it's going to transition up. I don't know if it happens this next coming week, but I mean, at least it's going in the right direction. Maybe just because now we have a little bit more health on the offensive line.
Yeah, and it all starts with continuity at the end of the day, and the Patriots clearly don't have that continuity just due to injury factors and whatnot. But I think as a Patriots fan, you're just hoping that this season's a little bit different in terms of maybe they start the season slow, but they figure out how to get it together as the season progresses. It seems like in the past few years, it's been the Patriots start off a little bit questionable, then they start picking up heat, and then kind of that last quarter to last half of the season, then they start to drop it. I think you hope that the Patriots just maybe this is the worst you're going to see it, the worst of the injuries, the worst of the questions, the worst of having to constantly swap guys in and out, and they can build that continuity as the season progresses and become a much more fluent offense. Now, Mike Larry does ask, did they pull Strange? No, they didn't pull Strange in this game. He did get injured, and it sounds like it was the same injury that he's been dealing with the entire offseason that kept him out of training camp and the preseason and week one. So not good. They also ruled him out pretty quickly. So we don't have any word right now on what it's looking like. But the fact that they ruled him out as quickly as they did against an in-division rival when the game was a little bit closer than it should have, it doesn't necessarily make me feel great. I think even if he misses a little bit more time, it's not going to be anything substantial, but it seems like that injury is lingering on a little bit, and he definitely doesn't look 100% also. But I think building continuity along this offensive line is the most important. In good news, though, although Cole Strange did leave this game, Mike Onwenu finally played a full game. Mike Onwenu is back. Mike Onwenu didn't play week one, and he only played like the first half of the Dolphins before they took him out and played Mafi in his spot at right guard. Played a full game, though, today. Looked good, and looks like we at least have Mike Onwenu back. So the Patriots, like you mentioned, slow but steady, but they are making strides into building continuity along this offense. So Rob, one more thing that I do want to touch upon this offense, where we get into a couple more things, is do the Patriots have a new play? Did they take a play from the Philadelphia Eagles
Oh yeah,
book?
that QB sneak.
And are they going to start showing the NFL why, hey, you know what? If you're not going to ban it, then we're going to run it.
We missed one time, all right? I'm pretty sure we missed it one time.
I think we might have. I think we did.
Yeah, we missed it on I believe it was a 4th down and we didn't get it.
But you know what? Not even the Philadelphia Eagles get it every single time. I mean, mostly every single time, but not every single time. And we also don't have the O-line that they have. But it looks like in short yardage situations, 3rd and even 4th down, the New England Patriots have a one specific play they go to, and that is the tush push. Famously known by the Philadelphia Eagles, Jalen Hurts. You just quarterback sneak it is essentially what it is. Rob, do you think that this is the new play for the Patriots in short down situations? Like, do they really not trust Ramondre or Ezekiel Elliott enough that they have to do the tush push?
I think that maybe gives it a little bit more towards the interior offensive line. I don't think our interior offensive line is pretty. I think that they get a little bit more credit for that. I don't. And up until this point, we really weren't doing great with our running back. So if it works, go for it. Fuck it.
Exactly. Like you say, I mean, if it works at the end of the day, they do it. And I think if the Patriots have the interior O-line to do it, then I think they will do it. Like if you don't have Cole Strange or Mike Onwenu, I question how often they would do it. But if you have like a healthy Cole Strange, David Andrews, and Mike Onwenu, you really only need your interior to push the pile and to be good and for that play to be effective. And that's the best part about this team, outside of Trent Brown, or about this offensive line rather, is that interior and how reliable it can be when it's healthy. So that's definitely a play I think the Patriots are going to run more. And like some of you are even saying in the chat, that's something that really, since Brady, the Patriots don't do all that often. That's something that Brady did a lot of the time, more specifically at the goal line.
Let's just hope he stays healthy, though. Let's just hope he stays healthy. And a lot of people in your chat, I don't know if it's in your chat or where I saw it, that think that we don't have a chance against Dallas.
What's the score right now? A lot of people saying
they're losing. I just went to go check, and people don't have. This is my biggest thing. People are not putting in perspective. I know I don't want to go too much into this, but we have just as much chance as anybody to beat Dallas. Dallas has beaten the Cowboys, the Jets, and they're losing to the Cardinals right now.
So the Cowboys are playing the Cardinals today.
Yeah, and they're losing and going into the 3rd quarter. They're 4 minutes left in the 3rd quarter, and they're losing.
You know what? They should have beat the Giants last week too, and then they somehow found a way to absolutely choke that game.
They'll choke that game because they're tanking for Caleb Williams. They're gonna find a way to lose, and they're just not gonna make it. I mean, the Cardinals are not as bad as people think they are, but also like the Giants' O-line is terrible, and the Jets are not that great either. So like, I think we have as much chance as anyone to beat the Dallas Cowboys, especially with Gonzo locking up everybody.
Yeah, and I'll be curious to see if Brandon Cooks plays in that game. But so far, through like 2 weeks, and we'll see how he does in this game, I thought Brandon Cooks has been a letdown of a move in a trade.
He's a bit older now,
man. And he's put up over 1,000 yards in each of his seasons. So like, he is quietly a very, very good wide receiver that doesn't get enough recognition. But this could be the first season that we see Brandon Cooks not put up 1,000 yards, because right now he is not even close to being on pace for 1,000 yards. He's just not doing good. And he was expected to kind of help move the chains there with CeeDee Lamb and make that a kind of a 1-2 punch. They obviously don't have Zeke Elliott. They have Tony Pollard, but they don't have a 1-2 punch in that backfield now. So some kind of question marks there for the Dallas Cowboys. And then obviously losing their star cornerback in Trayvon Diggs, I think, is going to be a massive loss for them. They do have Stephon Gilmore, but again, I think the 2 big trades that the Dallas Cowboys made, which, was trading for Brandon Cooks offensively, that 1-2 punch between him and CeeDee Lamb, and then that 1-2 punch in their secondary with Gilmore and Trayvon Diggs. Cooks isn't working out. He is a little banged up, and Trayvon Diggs is out for the entire season now. So that 1-2 punch is gone. The Dallas Cowboys are kind of being brought back down to earth, I think, a little bit. I still think that they're guaranteed a playoff spot, but I think maybe they're being brought back down to earth a little bit.
Are they? Look at the competition that they've gone against.
They went against
the Giants.
They went up against the Giants,
the Jets, and the Cardinals.
Jets. Okay, you know what? That's fair. I'll give it to you. Here's what I'll say. I think that they're legit. I think they have a legit offense, and I think they have a legit defense. What I think the problem is that Rob, let me ask you, would you rather have a defense in terms, even like the Patriots, would you rather have a defense that can be locked down? It's not going to give you a lot of big plays, not going to give you a lot of turnovers, but you're not going to get much efficiency running or passing against the defense. Or would you rather have an inconsistent defense, but a defense that is going to spark you plays? It's going to get you a ton of big plays defensively, a bunch of turnovers, some defensive touchdowns. Which one would you prefer?
So you're telling me what, 2011, where we made it to the Super Bowl with an inconsistent defense? I'll take an inconsistent defense. You're in an offensive league. Yes, defense will win you games, but now you're in a league where offense will win you Super Bowls.
Yeah, no, I agree. But my point just being that, the Dallas Cowboys are being so talked upon right now because of how elite that defense is, because how much plays that defense for the Dallas Cowboys is making. Obviously, you lose one of your big players that makes plays for you, but at the end of the day, the Patriots are kind of silent but deadly. Not everybody's talking about this defense, but it's holding offenses. You look at what they did against the Dolphins and Tyreek Hill compared to what they did the other 2 weeks when they weren't playing the Patriots, right? The Patriots defense is silent but deadly. They're not making a lot of big plays or big turnovers, but they're going to shut your offense down in every single phase versus the Dallas Cowboys who, they'll allow you to come back. They'll allow some big plays, but they're going to get some turnovers on you. They're going to get a lot of sacks. They're going to get some interceptions, but that defense isn't going to be consistent.
But you're going against Josh Dobbs.
Yeah, no, I can't. I have nothing for that.
Yeah, you could say whatever you want, man. Like they're going against Josh Dobbs, who's looked pretty damn good, given that he has like nothing to work with. But I mean, like, this is what I've been telling people, like, what has Dallas gone against? You gone against an offensive line in the Giants, who one of their guys through, I would think week 1 had a 1 PFF grade, and the other guy had a 25. 1 on a scale of 90, was it 99 or whatever it may be? That's terrible. That means you basically aren't blocking. And then you go against the Jets, who don't have Aaron Rodgers and they have a makeshift offensive line too, and the Cardinals, who basically traded away all their assets they possibly can, and I don't know how they're winning this game. So we have just as much chance to beat them as anybody. We've been told this against the Philadelphia Eagles, that they were going to blow us out. We're 1 play away from them, and the same thing with the Dolphins, who put up like 80 points today.
Yeah, so my original thought when the schedule came out against the Dallas Cowboys was the Patriots know how to play the Cowboys. They know how to play Dak, and we've seen that in the past, especially having Ezekiel Elliott here. Like you'll kind of have some inside information on how this offense is ran a little bit, which I think gives them a little bit of a step up. But I did say that I think the Patriots lose this game, and I do still stand by it. Like I said, it's going to be a close game, and I had some people saying, you still stand by that? And I'm like, yeah, I do still think this is going to be a close game, and the Patriots will play better than people expect. But I think it's going to be the kind of like the same situation that we've seen so far this season with the Patriots, is that they can hang with these best teams in the NFL, but they're going to do some things that shoot themselves in the foot early on, and then they're not able to come back, and it's going to be a close game, and just right at the end, they're not going to be able to win it. That seems to be what happens every single time they face a really good team, and until they can show me that they can actually come out and win those games, I have to roll with so far what they're showing me. So I still say they lose that game, but I think that game is going to actually be a game, and it's going to be a game that is a lot closer than people are going to give that credit for.
I've been on record on my lives on my Patriots page, which is a Patriots, but instead of a T, it would be a 7. I put it in wrong. I said we're going 4-0 in that stretch. We're already 1-0. I said we were going to go 4-0. We're going to beat the Cowboys. We're going to beat the Saints, and I forget who the 4th team is. I think it's Vegas.
Might be out Derek Carr too. Might be out Derek Carr for that game, it sounds like. So
I don't care. They're not. We're going to go 4-0 in this stretch, and I've been saying this, and I'm not. You know how I am. I'm very critical of this team. I just think that we haven't played our best game yet.
I know. I agree.
And I think that we're going to put it together. Like, look at the weather conditions. Look at all the, if a play goes here, a play goes there. And I'm not trying to be a moral victory kind of guy, but like, we have been our biggest enemy. We could be 3. You can make a case that we could be 3-0 right now.
Yeah, no, I agree. Now, guys, real quick, I also want to give a massive shout out to the sponsor of this channel and the sponsor that is going to be sponsoring us all off season long, all the way from August, all the way till February, baby. We are talking about BetUS. BetUS, baby. And the best thing about BetUS is the fact that unlike so many sports books, they are available no matter where you go, where you are traveling, all 50 states, baby. You got BetUS coming your way. So no matter where you are, you don't have to ask me, Patriots Global, can I bet with them? Yeah, as long as you are 21, you are of legal age, you can bet with BetUS. This is going to be in the description box below. And right now, it's pinned in the comment section below, pinned for you guys to go ahead, click that link, check it out. It's super easy to sign up for. It'll take you right there. You just got to fill out your first name, last name, phone number, email, and you guys right away can start betting. And if you guys use that link, you guys can receive a 125% sign up bonus. So that is more than double the initial deposit that you put in. The number I always like to throw around because I'm not good at math and it's just easy for me to say this one. Let's say you guys put in $100 and you used that link. That will give you $225 to play with. Again, more than double that initial deposit for you. BetUS is the leading online betting platform, and they offer a wide range of sports betting along with casino games. So if you're like, I'd rather bet on blackjack or poker or whatever, rather than sports betting, they have that there for you guys also. BetUS's reputation is also super reliable, super secure. And if you have any questions, comments, or concerns, you can always reach out to their customer service and they will always be nothing but happy to help you guys out. Like I said, guys, super easy to sign up. They also have a lot of different sports coverage, right? Including popular sports like football or basketball or soccer or baseball, a wide different range of sports if you do want to sports bet. And they have a bunch of different options in terms of sports betting, right? Whether that's pregame bets, live betting, parlays, and player props. So make sure you guys check out BetUS, get that 125% sign up bonus, and you guys signing up. And of course, if you guys want to use that code also, it massively supports the channel. While we are demonetized, we cannot be here without the sponsors. So guys, it's available no matter where you are, all 50 states. Please check out BetUS. Tell them Patriots Global sent you, and at least sign up for it and go check it out. See all the hype that I'm putting into BetUS because I truly do stand by it. But Rob, get this back up. Something else that I want to touch upon is special teams, right? And I think my biggest special teams kind of tidbit and takeaway from this, and we kind of touched upon it earlier, is Chad Ryland. Now, Chad Ryland misses 2 kicks, but I don't put that on Chad Ryland, and I got some flack for saying that. Obviously, the weather conditions weren't great. It was super windy. It was super rainy. But he misses 2 kicks, not because of him, but because of the snap of Joe Cardona, the veteran who seems like every single snap was just flying above people's heads. Now, ultimately, none, got away from them. They were able to keep them all secure and not turn the ball over. But how the ball comes off the kicker's foot is how the ball is ultimately going to fly through the pylons, right? And I think that was very much affected by the high snap from Joe Cardona and then the placement by Bryce Behringer trying to make up for the high snap. And that affected both of Chad Ryland's kicks that ultimately were not good. Those kicks, those missed field goals, those missed attempts were not on Chad Ryland, but were on the snap and the hold. What are your thoughts?
I think that one of them was laces in, not out, and both snaps were high. And the one snap that they didn't have high, going after they missed 2 in a row, they made it. Let's not overanalyze it. Yeah, the weather. I don't really think it was just the weather. I really don't. I think it's the fact that Cardona snapped it way too high. He has to bring it down. That throws off the whole momentum of Chad Ryland that's basically ready to deliver this kick. And especially one of them got shanked.
Yeah, exactly. Real quick, I do just want to share a little fun fact here. I do have some subscribers that actually have checked out BetUS. First off, big shout out to you guys. Like I said, it really, really supports out the channel. But Gerard put down a $1,000 deposit. My man was going in on it. But Gerard knows his sports betting. Let me tell you, this dude is genius. But he put down a $1,000 deposit with BetUS via that link that got him extra money because of it. And he got an extra $1,000 in free plays. My man is out here making a living with that free money that he was given. And then we get a little bit of sports advice. Bet $100 on the Pats next week. If you bet $100 on the Patriots next week and they win because they are underdogs, let me tell you, you're going to make some nice bread there.
And people are saying that how we're going to stop Dallas as if we didn't just verse the Philadelphia Eagles and the Jets. Like, why are we just ignoring this?
Yeah, I'm not too worried with how the Patriots are going to go up against them. They know how to play Brandon Cooks. Essentially, just protect deep, and you'll be fine
No,
with
they're
Brandon Cooks.
talking about the pass blocking and keeping Mac upright, but like we didn't give up a sack to the Jets. Are we forgetting who the Jets are?
They're going to find ways to get Micah Parsons mismatches, and as long as you can stop
Shifting a
Micah
lot.
Parsons, I'm really not all that concerned. Let me see if there's anything else I have in my notes. Honestly, it looks like I touched upon pretty much everybody. We touched upon the penalties. We touched upon the injuries. We touched upon Pharaoh Brown, Zeke, Joe Cardona. So we really touched upon all of the points that I, had to hit on. Do you have any more points or anything else you want to talk about specifically from today's game, Rob?
Yeah, stop overhyping the damn Dallas Cowboys. Look at what like seriously, like, and start like trying to be a little bit less negative and look at all the underlying variables of what we've gone through at this point. That's it.
Negan says we don't gamble and just play the commercial. If you don't gamble, man, that's cool. Then you can just wait 30 seconds.
So here's my rebuttal, and I have been pretty quiet and not telling Global to go at people, but like if you're gonna tell a person how to make a living, please stop. It's content creators, it's hard enough as it is. Stop telling people how to basically make a living. Okay.
And I'm trying to see if there's any comments here to answer, but it looks like it's really just touching upon everything that we already talked about. Encourage. No, we're not even going to touch upon them. Yeah, Negan, you're only going to lose money if you don't know what you're doing. That's really all I got to say about that. So maybe you don't bet. Maybe you don't bet.
Just be responsible with your money if you're
Yeah,
gonna
guys,
do that.
of course.
It's nobody's telling you have to do this. It's just
Yeah, guys, the biggest thing is always play responsibly. And I always tell you guys that if you're going to bet, make sure you please bet responsibly. If you always need help, you can reach out, but there's obviously a lot of different gambling helplines that can help you guys out also. But of course, always check out the sponsors. They're here to support you guys, here to support me, and they're giving you guys great deals. So if you're someone who likes to just bet for some fun, then check them out, because it's only going to give you some free money if this is something you do anyway. So
will Skip Bayless be okay if the Cowboys lose?
Probably not.
Him and his Bill Belichick slander on a consistent basis. Oh my God, he's gonna talk up this game like crazy.
This is basically America's team against what America's team is actually. So if the Patriots win this game, this is just like telling Skip Bayless, yeah, we're gonna have to change who America's team is.
We've been owning them up until what, like last year or the year before that they beat
2021 us. Max year goes into overtime.
Yeah, Jalen Mills gets burned on a touchdown.
CeeDee Lamb burned CeeDee Lamb burns Jalen Mills for that touchdown. It looks like on a corner route, I believe it was. It was a post route. And ultimately they lose that game in overtime. But anyway, let's answer this last question. Then we're going to log off for the day. Do you guys know when Jonathan Jones will be back? I would expect Jonathan Jones to be back this week. I think that there's more need for Jonathan Jones this week against the Cowboys than against the Jets, right? And obviously he didn't play against the Dolphins, but he got injured a few days before that game, right? Like the Patriots needed him in that game, but there just was no way he was going to be healthy enough to play. I think if they really needed him to play against the Jets today, he would have. But again, you really only had to cover Garrett Wilson and you would have been fine. Again, they were fine today. They got the job done. They need him more for this game against the Dallas Cowboys. So I feel pretty confident that he does return in this game. Again, it seemed pretty close. Like he was at practice this week. He was just a limited participant. So I do believe that he does come back this week and plays against the Dallas Cowboys. Rob, any thoughts there?
Yeah, CeeDee Lamb in a box.
Yeah, I'm confident CeeDee Lamb gets.
I'm at the point where I'm this confident in Gonzo. Look what he's gone against, and he's going to put him in a damn box.
Yeah, no, I agree. I'm not really scared in terms of that matchup, but I know that they'll find other ways to be.
Bro, his fluid hips are just a reason why he doesn't lose any of his speed. He's basically he's running the routes with them.
No, yeah, he looks good in every single phase, from mirroring his receivers he's going up against, going stride for stride, having that speed, every aspect you need your defensive back to essentially play in. Gonzo has done that. So, he's gone up against technicians, he's gone up against speedsters, and he's hung with all of them. So there's nothing showing me that he can't continue to do that when going up against CeeDee Lamb, especially because he's gone up against better receivers than CeeDee Lamb. So I'm not really worried about this, especially because the only receiver you really got to worry about is CeeDee Lamb. Really just protect the deep area
or
of the
just
field.
Cooks.
Protect the deep area of the field, and Brandon Cooks is pretty much shut down. He's a speedster that works primarily in the intermediate to deep area of the field. So as long as you have safeties covering the top and taking away those big plays for him, and you don't have one-on-one matchups man-to-man with a defensive back and Brandon Cooks, I think you'll be fine. So I mean, even if you have Jonathan Jones in this game, I think you could do that and be fine. But if you have to have Miles Bryant or something like that going man-to-man alone with Brandon Cooks deep, then I kind of start to worry, because those are, the opportunities where you can take shots for 50-50 contested catch opportunities that I think Brandon Cooks is a little bit underrated with. So just play deep, shut down CeeDee Lamb, and I think you essentially leave it up to the backup receivers and Tony Pollard, and I think that's a recipe to win the game. But guys, we are going to call it for today. Make sure you guys do leave a big like on your way out. Like I said, it really does help out the channel when you guys just leave a thumbs up. Costs you nothing, supports us tremendously. But like always, me and Rob appreciate you guys so much for watching. Make sure you guys subscribe to the channel for all of your New England Patriots news. Per usual, we will see you guys next week for the New England Patriots and Dallas Cowboys game. We'll be live on Bleacher Report after that game. And then, of course, after Bleacher Report, we will be here on YouTube to continue to break down the game for you guys for about an hour, hour and a half or so, like we did today. But we appreciate you guys as always. Make sure you guys also follow Rob over on Instagram at Patriots7, as you guys see. And of course, the House Call Sports. Rob, anything else you want to say before we log off for today?
No, we appreciate your support. The T at the end is supposed to be a 7 for my Patriots page, and the House Call Sports on YouTube. We're like this close to 3,000. So you like all sports, we cover it. Appreciate y'all.
We appreciate you guys. Thank you. And of course, I will see you guys later tonight. We'll be dropping winners and losers video tonight. So stay tuned for that video, guys. Like the video on your way out and expect some more content this week, guys. Appreciate it. And go Pats.
Let's go.